guess just the first one, just, who are you? Kind of tell people who you are.
Okay, so my name's Ali Jones and I am 58 and I have two grown up, won't use the word children, have two grown ups, 22 and 26. And our daughter's in Australia and our son is finishing an automotive engineering apprenticeship. My daughter works in teeth, my son works in cars, so I should be pretty sweet with those things as I need help with them. Uh, my husband is an ex-chef and a builder. So I'm pretty sorted there as well. It's all about me, Winston. He and I have been married for 30 years this December, and we have an adopted greyhound called David. So yeah, that's who we are. We are in our new house, have been for this will be the end of our second year after we had a failed EQC repair. So we lived in a bus for 2 years, and we've been in the house now for, as I said, coming up 2 years, and it's really nice. It was great being in the bus, but it's lovely being in a house.
Yeah. You were a councillor up until 2016, and then you've been on the community board since then. Why have you decided to run for the councillor again?
Well, I ran last time. I missed by 8 votes, so it's certainly something that I've been thinking about for a while. So missed by 8 votes. We won the right to have, because you don't get it automatically. I won the right to have a recount, and so it dropped from 16 to 8. But eight is eight, so I didn't get in this time. Yeah, stand back non-bathers has kind of been my saying on my t-shirt. I am in this 110%. And I didn't run again in 2016 for a whole lot of reasons. The main one was the EQC thing. I'm sure there are many people out there who know how all encompassing it is dealing with EQC and post-earthquake stuff. So, and my mother was unwell as well. That's what life's like. So I didn't run in 2016, but now that the kids are away and we're empty nesters, and the dog is not needy and all that kind of stuff. And also I think we're at a cusp. I felt a bit like this in 2013. Actually, I was talking to Raf Manji, who's running for Central, the other day, because we both ran as independents in 2013 and were successful. And he says the same. He feels that it's like 2013, where we need a change around that table. We need a fresh energy, and we also, I think people are starting to realize how much of a handbrake having that political block, that kind of Labour Party People's Choice block around the table does stop us not only making good decisions, but even considering good decisions. I mean, those guys have blocked even information coming to the table to inform a decision. So yeah, to answer your question, it feels right. It feels absolutely right.
Yeah. Why should people pick you over, the other people running in your ward?
Well, I don't like telling people who they should and shouldn't vote for. I just put myself out there, and then leave it up to people to choose. What I bring to the role is energy, I think, and a bit of fun. Boy, you've got to have some fun in that job. You sit down on your bum for 8 hours a day. You've got to have some joy. So yes, a bit of fun. I think I bring an ability to communicate in a pretty straightforward way. I do not like buzzwords. I don't like bureaucracy. I abhor anything that takes longer than it needs to, when you start adding layers of bureaucracy and doing things for the sake of doing them. So if you want stuff done more quickly, more cost effectively, and you want a straight up answer and not have to dance around, I'm your woman.
Yeah. What is like your hobby, the thing you kind of get up to when you're not working?
I hate to say it, but I love watching telly. I'm a bit, I used to work in television and production, and that's not probably the reason, but I really enjoy binging stuff on telly. I also enjoy cooking. If I can get in the kitchen, if my husband's not in there. I also enjoy walking, going to the movies, gardening. After living in the bus for 2 years and not having a garden, I absolutely love being able to get outside into the garden. Pretty normal stuff, really. Yeah. A lot of it involves sitting down. I've just realized, apart from the gardening.
Do you listen to music? If so, what kind of music do you enjoy?
Yeah, greatest invention ever, which will be before you were born, was the Walkman. The whole idea of being able to walk around, which is just commonplace now, with your music. Sometimes like an old lady, I'll go out and go, this is really cool. I can go anywhere and listen to whatever I want. I used to like listening to Kim Hill on RNZ in the morning. I quite like listening to words, podcasts and things like that. Music wise, I really love soul, Motown, 80s. I'm a disco girl. Sorry, probably before you were born too. But I do love some of the more modern stuff. I love the Beths. And I also like our local Littleton stuff. I love Delaney Davidson. All the names are going out of my head now, so I'm so useless at the pub quiz team at the moment. Yeah, I mean, a real mixture, but I'm a karaoke person too. Okay, so I will. Some of my colleagues go for a walk if they need some endorphins and something, whatever. I turn my telly on and get the mics out and have a go, and then I'm into work again. So anything that I know, anything with words, but wow, I really love the Beths as well. Oh, and Lawrence Arabia. Apple Pie Bed, man, that's just got to be the best song ever. So yeah, a mixture.
Yeah. What would you say is the best thing about Christchurch?
I love the weather. I know that some people sort of disappear to warmer climes, but I love that four seasons thing. That those crisp mornings, the blue skies. I love that we're so close to the ski field. I started skiing again 2 or 3 years ago. I managed to get up this year, and that is just so freeing. And being able to do that in an hour and a half. And then the old thing about the beach as well. You can ski one day, go to the beach the next. I don't know anyone who actually has ever done that, but it shows how close things are. I love our gardens. I love Hagley Park. And what I like about Christchurch now that we've really got our mojo back after the earthquakes is the diversity. When I've been knocking on doors, in fact, this morning I knocked on a door and there was this gorgeous woman and she didn't speak a word of English. And she pulled me into the house and I went into the house and there was the mum in the living room with a little girl. She was about a year and a half old. And the grandma didn't speak any English. And so the mum was telling the grandma, you shouldn't really just bring people inside, I think. But they were Nepalese. And mum had been here for 4 months and her daughter had been here for 14 years. And I'm just finding that there's this incredible diversity and colour. And I really like that. And I'd like to see that reflected a lot more in some of the events that we do. Diwali's amazing, but we've got so many different ethnicities in Christchurch. I'd like to see more of that. So that's what I love about the city.
Yeah. What is your kind of top issues, main issues that you'll tackle if you're elected?
Well, the top one's rates. It's got to be rates. I mean, I was watching a meeting at council this morning in the, I think it's the Finance and Performance Committee. And I actually heard someone there who's on 140K a year say, look, she struggles with the cost of living too. Well, you tell that to someone who's on, minimum wage. I know I've had people in my family working not even on a living wage. So look, rates. It's the one thing that I think we can do to contribute or help people with the cost of living. There is so much we spend money on, Winston, that we don't need to. And you only need to look through the long-term plan. It's very boring, so I don't suggest you do it as kind of a light read. But if you do look through it, there'll be stuff in there you'll go, what the hell is that? Why do we need $280,000 for a science centre in the Botanic Gardens? There's that kind of stuff. So rates is the top one, and we need to cut our cloth accordingly. Everyone else does it at home, so should the council.
Yeah. Mental health in politics can be a rough place. How do you kind of keep your mental health, in check?
My husband would say I don't. How do I keep it in check? It's really different to last time. 2013, 2016 was a very different kind of environment. It was 12 years ago. We were a couple of years after the earthquake. So it was a really intense time. It was Monday to Friday, dawn to dusk. I think that's slightly less in there now, but that doesn't mean that the issues are any less taxing and stressful. So I imagine if when I get into council, I will need to really focus on that. I'm hopeless at that. You know, a lot of women are, you know, sorry, but women will just go and go and go until they fall over. And I think that's where having supportive people around you and great, you know, family is important. Talking to the dog is fabulous because he doesn't talk back, and he's soft and nice to pat when you talk to him. And taking him for walks too. That's David the Greyhound. I may have mentioned him. And swimming. I find swimming is awesome, not only physically, but also for the brain. I just have this thing about getting wet. No, you know, getting in, especially in the winter, and then getting out and drying. But swimming is just such a great head thing to do as well.
Yeah. Um, Local politics doesn't get the same media attention or even voter turnout. What do you think kind of needs to change or be done about it, I guess?
Yeah, that boy, I wish I had an answer to that. That's I do think it's going to have to move online at some stage. I think that that's going to bring the participation levels up immensely. I think one of the things that we should do and should have done a long time ago is introduce civics into schools. So teaching, I would suggest perhaps from a high school stage or whatever, how our government systems work, what the history of our government systems are, what the difference is between STP, STV, you know, first past the post, the way our local government system works. Look at how the Australian government works. I think if you've got people understanding and following what's going on from 13, 14 years of age, I think that helps lead them into the interests that they will have, hopefully, by the time it comes to voting age. So, yeah, the technological thing, informationally, I think we do a pretty good job engaging, although there is a perception more and more that it's just lip service when we consult. That has got to change. We've got to stop doing stuff without listening to what our public is saying. But yeah, technology and education.
Yeah, yeah. What is maybe like an interesting fact that, no one really knows about you?
An interesting fact that no one knows about or may not know about me. I was the youngest television news presenter in New Zealand in, I think it was 89 or 1990. So I was 21. And I got the job to present the Mainland Touch, which was, we used to have regional news around the country: Auckland, Wellington, Christchurch, Dunedin, and ours was called the Mainland Touch. I used to do the deaf news as well. Two, I've never forgotten the deaf news, right? This means prostitute or sex worker, and this means Concord. I don't know why I remember those, but anyway. So news review was news for the deaf, and I presented that and the Mainland Touch. But I was the youngest presenter. But they made me wear really big jackets and put my hair up in bun, you know, in a bun, and tried to make me look a lot older. So I don't think many people know that about me. And I grew up in Fiji and Suva, so I was about 9 when I left Fiji and moved to New Zealand and went to school in Sumner. Had to learn to put shoes on again, actually. So yeah, that's a couple of things.
Oh, yeah. And then just the last thing I had is kind of if you can directly speak to the voters, here's your chance, I guess.
Okay. What I would say to voters is every vote counts. You know, don't assume that someone will get in. Vote. I missed by 8 last time, and boy, I've knocked on a few doors when I've said I think you might have been one of the 8. So please, please vote. You've got to engage, and also remember that it's you, the power is in your hands. So if you want things to change, for example rates and what have you, you have to vote people around that table who will have a majority to make those decisions. So ask your candidates what they stand for, why they stand for it, and make them explain their positions. But please vote and think about who you're voting for.